Recently, I found myself scrolling on social media a lot, and I was looking for something to replace it in the form of a mobile game. Something I can play for like 5 or 10 minutes and then move on. And what better option than Jetpack Joyride? A nostalgic, infinite scroller with pretty cool cosmetics that you can earn with in game currency. Fun upgrades to customize your experience and sort of how you play, and no ads. Truly a masterpiece. Just what I need in this day and age when everything has ads and subscriptions and fees. And it has ads. They're everywhere too, like unavoidable. Luckily, there's an old school version on the App Store, Jetpack Joyride Classic. Whew, I really thought I was gonna have to, use airplane mode to try and avoid this, and it still has a subscription. What the fuck? There's an old saying I'm sure you've heard before, and it goes something like, if you want something done right, do it yourself. So here we are. I made Jetpack Joyride for the GBA. It's not nearly as complete as the one in the App Store. There are still so many features missing. But I wanted to build the core gameplay loop and then also make it look decent. And I did just that. There are no cosmetics or shops or coins or scientists running around or cool upgrades or vehicles for the player to ride. But it is an infinite scroller with a variety of obstacles to dodge, and it tracks the distance that you've gone so far and saves a high score. And that is the fundamentals of Jetpack Joyride. But it started out looking a little bit like this, just a blank screen with some text on it. But now it's a playable version. So how did we get here?
I tried something a little new with the audio and it didn't come out very well, so just bear with me. It's gonna sound like this for the rest of the video pretty much. My bad.
I started this project with a template I created for starting most of my projects. Just a really simple terminal that I made actually as one of my first GBA projects, which has become unbelievably useful for debugging. This template also has music, but that got removed almost immediately, and I did not get around to adding any more music, so for the rest of the demos, it's just going to be silent. Yep, another shortcoming of this project, but oh well. For the first steps of this project from the template, I just wanted to add the player character, add a little bit of movement for the player, and a simple scrolling background. The background movement is really simple actually. The GBA has a horizontal offset register that allows for backgrounds to move left and right on the screen. The GBA also lets those backgrounds wrap around if you were to move the offset past where the edge of the background is. So it wraps all the way around. All I had to do was draw up a background that looked decent as it wrapped, and then increased the horizontal offset register every frame, and we get a scrolling background. Since the background is handling the appearance of horizontal movement, the player sprite only needs to handle vertical movement. I did this with just some simple physics, with acceleration, velocity, and position. Every frame, we update the player's acceleration, velocity, and position. If the player is holding down the A button, then their acceleration is positive. If they are not holding it, then their acceleration is negative. From there, we can add the acceleration to the velocity, and then we can add the velocity to the position to get player movement. Of course, I had to put some clamps on the ceiling and the floor so that the player can't shoot through either or fall through the ground, but that was super simple. I also added the bullets that are flying out of the jetpack. Not my proudest art, I will say, but it's actually pretty cool, the mechanics of it. I have an Affine sprite in between the player and the ground that is being scaled as the player rises and falls. So it only takes one sprite and it looks decent for what it is. It does get better though. The next big feature that I needed to tackle early was collisions, and this was my nightmare. I've gone through a handful of tutorials for building collision systems, and I just don't like them. But it's such a core part of so many games that it's good and important to practice and understand regardless of my feelings. There are going to be 4 different types of hazards in this game, and they all will need a collision box to detect if they hit the player. The 3 different types of lasers are there, the yellow, orange, and red, and they will all use a pill-shaped collision box, while the player and the missile will use a rectangular collision box. At this point, I also created the first hazard, and we can see the collision between the player and the laser actually works perfectly. It doesn't end the run yet, but we'll get there. From that collision foundation, I went ahead and created the other hazards from Jetpack Joyride. I got kind of lazy and didn't add any color to these, but that really wouldn't be that difficult. The important thing with all of the hazards is that the collision box is different than how the hazards are displayed. So I need to manage both of those at the same time. The yellow laser utilizes a GBA background that has the same horizontal offset as the scrolling background, so it appears to be stationary as the player moves through the facility. The orange laser from the game, which is actually the color yellow in my game, also appears stationary, but this time it's rotating in place. I achieved this with an Affine sprite that rotates and carefully updates its X position to match the player's movement. The red lasers appear to move with the player, and this was done by just using another background and not updating the horizontal offset at all. This one also needed to be really careful to make sure that the collision box was only enabled when the laser was fully engaged, and disabled the second it started powering down. And last but not least, the missile. This one is a lot like the orange laser, but it also has the warning phase, which tracks the player's Y position and then moves with the player on the screen. I also added the player deaths, so here actually there is an interaction between the player and the hazards when they get hit, and that turns the player and makes him rotate and then faceplant on the ground as he bounces and then slows to a stop. Finally, the background was due for an update. The original game starts in this starting zone and then goes into dynamically selected rooms as the player moves forward. The rooms are quite large, but have an element of randomness as they spawn. So I revamped my background system to have a loading system for specific backgrounds that always starts with the starting zone, and then randomly selects the next ones going forward. This works a lot like the world map from my previous video, which loads the next map in the brief moment where the player can only see one background, creating the illusion that the background is infinitely scrolling, while the GBA can only really load 2 backgrounds at a time. I only created the starting zone and a few other zones, but I really like how this system works, and it can be extended super easily. I was also considerate of making these backgrounds connect with each other seamlessly, so the scrolling can feel pretty authentic. Now that the backgrounds are looking a little bit better and the starting zone is figured out, I added a title screen with a little intro animation that waits for the player's input before starting the game. Once the game starts, some clouds shoot out from the wall and the player bursts through. I did this with Affine sprites that have set paths as they shoot out from the wall. They're rotated slightly just to add some noise to the animation and make it look a little bit more realistic. And they're meant to blend away over time to appear like they're disappearing. They also cover the player as he runs out behind them, which is just kind of a nifty little thing to make it really feel like he's bursting out of the wall. To match the title screen, I also added a death screen that informs the player that they can hit any button and then restart the game. One of the last big features I needed to add is the actual hazard generation. I've written all of the code to spawn each of the hazards individually, but now I need the hazard manager to select a random hazard, spawn it, and then wait until the player has gotten past it, and then do another random selection, and just repeat that process. To make this part feel a little bit more authentic, I added a randomizer and then a seed-based system. The seed-based system is already part of libtonk, which is the backbone of this project, so I just needed to include it in the generation. The final updates to the game were adding a text system for the player's current distance and their high score, and then doing the last bit of polishing on just a few of the different parts. The high score is saved in SRAM, so it persists after the game is turned off, while the current score uses that same value that we're using to scroll the backgrounds using the horizontal offset register, which is pretty cool. And this is the final product, a working but incomplete version of Jetpack Joyride for the Game Boy Advance. Now, I didn't mention every single thing I did along the way, because there were a bunch of things behind the scene that don't really affect the player experience. Changes that made the code easier to read, or made the code make more sense, or decreased the size of the actual ROM, or made the graphics simpler to handle in the code, or fixed weird bugs and issues. There are so many of those little changes that do matter a lot, especially when building bigger and bigger projects. And the most important part is to make sure that you're doing these things as you go. Don't get so excited about making the coolest thing that you ignore all of those little steps along the way, because they do start to compound and can quickly turn into a mess that is super, super hard to recover from.
Another old saying you may have heard goes, hindsight is 20/20. And again, here we are. I, a student of computer science, learned many techniques for writing code, including object-oriented programming, one of the benefits of C++. But alas, object-oriented programming has failed me. At some point during all of my joyous adventures with my Jetpack, I reach a point when the game crashes, right before another hazard object is created, the fatal flaw with my work. To be completely honest, there is so much to do before calling this game complete, so I'm not too worried about fixing it at the moment. But if/when I continue this, I'll need to start there. All of the code is available on GitHub. You can check the link in the description. And if you want to take a crack at fixing it, feel free to clone the repo or raise a PR and try and fix it yourself. I would love to see your solutions to my stupid little design flaw. One last thing, the GBA Jam 2026 is still going on if you want to try making something yourself and potentially winning some prizes. There is a little less than 2 months left, but don't let that discourage you. There are definitely still people looking for teams in the Discord channel if that sounds interesting to you. I am not making nearly as much progress as I wanted to, but I plan on making some videos with updates soon. Alright, thanks for watching.